Welcome to Just a Cup on Believe. I am Brian Fetzer, and we are going to have an organic conversation, just like we're at a coffee shop. And we're going to be talking about sports. We're going to be talking about volleyball. We're going to be talking everything. And I have with me Cathy George, who for 36 years was in the college ranks at 4 different schools and now is with the Grand Rapids Rise in the PVF, the Pro Volleyball Federation, which is amazing. And we're going to talk about that. Cathy, thank you for joining us. I'm excited to dive in and talk some volleyball and talk about a little bit about some coaching and everything. So
well, thanks for having me, Brian. Appreciate it.
So let's start off first off with the Grand Rapids Rise. I mean, it's got to be an amazing opportunity to be a part of something that's starting a professional league. There's not many starting professional leagues anymore. And to have an opportunity to be on the ground floor. I know we talked way back when you first got started when you were just having some conversations and it's like, man, we've got to do everything to get things rolling.
Right.
What has that been like? I mean,
well, I don't know that you really think a lot about it while you're doing it. You're just kind of like, you just got to charge, right? You just got to get things done. It doesn't matter. You just have to go and you have to make sure that you're responding to every single thing that needs to happen. Like you don't realize what you have to put in place when you start from scratch until you actually do it and until you're in it. And now we have we have this journal, we have this, our director of ops manual, and we've kind of we're scrutinizing it and trying to get into a position where, it's just smooth as silk. And that's, as you know, that's never really easy, but, and things always will change from year to year and you'll still have those types of things happening, but you're going to be ready for things. You're going to be more prepared. And I'm looking forward to that. I thought really, despite all that, it was awesome. And it was amazing that we really got this thing off and running. And I think the PVF did a great job in doing that, even though it's not always easy.
No, I mean, 7 teams to start the inaugural year off, going to add some more teams, I know, coming in coming years. And what was one thing, though, starting something from scratch, what was one thing that surprised you that you had to do that you were like, wow, I didn't think we needed to do this or something like that?
No, I don't know that it's, there's a bunch of little examples, but they're not super huge things. But it's the thing that surprised me the most is, when you go from a university to a university,
right?
It's not like it was the first volleyball program. Like Vanderbilt just put in the first volleyball program at their school. They've had 2 years to kind of go through, get everything from all the equipment necessary. I mean, we opened up a training room, so we bought all of the first time or the one time kind of buys, and you had to get everything put in place. We have a laundry room, we have, just all the stuff that from just what is it you're going to need, and do we have that taken care of? And it's extensive. There's a lot of things that you need. And I think it's the enormity of all of that. Not that I didn't know, but it was there when you went to Michigan State, or it was there when you were in Western Michigan. It was started. There was a staff that has worked with volleyball before that knows kind of the way it's going to work. Nobody knew exactly how this was going to work. So even though we've all been involved in athletics, it's just the little things, the big things, right? You're all prepared for that. You've all planned for that. Right. It's these other things that can sometimes distract, can get in your way, or keep you up at night, whichever it is. So,
and probably a little bit of both. Probably a little bit of both.
Yeah. So I love that challenge. I will tell you, I kind of thrive on that, and I enjoy that.
Well, I'd say, because you get to build it the way you want to build it, and that is not a normal kind of situation. I mean, you're always inheriting something. You get to build it and do it the way you want. Mm-hmm. But, you share a facility with another sports team, correct?
Well, it's with the club volleyball team.
And okay.
So we share that building with them, and it's it's open to the public for some time of the day, and so we're just sharing that facility. But it's our owners went ahead and built it all up. It's they did a phenomenal job of building our team lounge and locker room and shower area and all that, plus an office, film room, training room, all that, and they really put themselves into it, and so it is ours. And our, practice gym is downstairs. And so we're able to kind of just do all of our stuff there.
That's awesome. I mean, and what a great first season, inaugural season.
Yeah.
You guys finished,
Yeah.
runner up, lose a championship match to Omaha,
Right.
which obviously, as any coach, you're like, it was not that great. We should have
Yeah.
won.
Yeah.
But with that kind of building the chemistry of the team,
Mhm.
professional sports are so different than college because you recruited the person, you spent all this time. You get to the pro side of things, and it's signing free agents and drafting people. What was that like? The difference, between the college side and the pro side?
Well, it was a little similar actually, because
Really?
when you're talking to the free agents, it's like you're courting them. They're
Mm,
much more experienced. They know the questions to ask. They know what's important. When you're talking to young high school players, their parents, or what have you, it's just a different perspective. Now, the right questions are getting asked.
mm,
What are you doing to take care of like my health? What are you doing to do it? Like all the different, it's just a different focus. What matters to me is what they asked, like to themselves. Like they asked, what's going to matter to me, and do you guys take care of that? And how are we going to process through the season? And the other thing, they know they all played pro. They all have been there before, been there, done that, and so they all have strong opinions about how it should go. And you don't bring in players to college that they're just going to kind of fall in line and do what they need to do. But this group is well educated. They want to make sure that we're doing this right, and that we're thinking about longevity for their playing career, that we're taking care of them in that way, and just all of that. So it is different, but the same. So we're having conversations just in a more mature way that is thinking about the big picture.
And I would say the majority of the players in the league, are on a national team or who are played in pro volleyball, internationally,
Right.
which is kind of unique. The fact that it always blows my mind that
Yeah.
there wasn't a professional league for volleyball in the United States
Yes.
as popular as the sport is.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, in the last, maybe more than that, but 10 years, I mean, there's really been a push in volleyball. I mean, the TV exposures have been up, and actually, we're showing the ability to get viewership and continue to grow that. And the demographics have been broad, and it's just been taking shape. And I think that investors and people like that have noticed that it is a really cool sport. And I'll tell you, it was so cool. Like, it chills on, just as you're playing, but we got started in our opening day, and, we had a really good crowd, and a lot of people never saw volleyball before, but they came out of it like, where can we sign up? Like, where can we sign up for season tickets? What can we do? They just were really surprised at how much fun it was and how competitive. So we have so many people stopping us on the streets all the time. The community has really embraced the team, the coaches, and just really gotten involved in it, and they're really super super excited for year two, and I can't wait for that because it just keeps growing.
Well, I mean, I think too, when you talk about, I mean, Grand Rapids is a big city. It's not a massive metropolitan area, so it becomes a little more home. It has that feel of it's a hometown team,
It is.
and I think a lot of sports that aside from NFL and all that kind of stuff. When you have a sports franchise in a smaller market, it becomes more of an actual home team as
Right.
opposed to,
Well-
getting lost. I mean, I live down in South Florida, and there's pro teams all over the place here, but nobody even knows that there exist.
Right.
Because there's so many other things to do.
Yeah. And that is a good point, because I do think that, this community here has really embraced us, and they're totally about it. And they know the players. I mean, players they don't have to wear their, Grand Rapids Rise shirt or whatever to go in a grocery store. Everybody knows who they are. They are, thrilled. I was just at the LPGA today, so I went to see the women golfers and just get out there, and it's a great event at Blythefield. And so, just even it was weird. Here I am walking through there, not with anything on necessarily, but, the amount of people that have, were saying how much they loved it. And it was exciting to see that it really crosses over so many different demographics, so many different groups, and that they're really fired up for the future.
Well, and the season goes from January to April, is
Right.
correct?
Oh, to May.
To May. What shift at all next year, or is it going to kind of
No,
stay the same?
I think it's looking to start a little bit earlier to avoid the compression that we had, which
Right.
is one of those things that you say, okay, what needs to change? Some of our weeks were compressed with too many games, and as a league, you're looking at what it is that you want to do to change. But that was one of them, and we are trying to get a couple more weeks in there so that we can kind of pull that apart and make it a little bit easier. Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, and it's going to expand as well.
Yep.
Correct. I mean, a couple
Yes.
new teams getting added.
Yep.
What does that do for volleyball on the women's side for the United States?
Well, I think it shows that, first of all, women's sports, it's serious. It's something to be respected and admired. It's not something that you have to do because people are telling you, boy, you need to be doing whatever you do with the men, you have to do with the women. Mm-hmm. It's not just that. It's like that, we've had Title IX, we've had those things growing over the years to provide opportunities for women, but we don't want to be patronized and just say, we need to just have you. That's why we do it. I think what we're seeing is that people are really appreciating what women can do in sport, and that it's exciting, and that it's real. It's like, it's fun to watch. We want to pay money to go watch this, and we want to watch it on TV, and we're excited about it. Now we're bringing our women home that says that, hey, you can do this here. That means I get to see my grandmother and grandfather who may not have that much more time. I'm seeing my nieces and nephews that are born. They weren't doing that. They were so far from their families, and they have an opportunity now to play there, and they can still go overseas if they want to play. But this is really cool that you have an option, and that your families, like, we'll see the families come into the games that when we go to different parts of the country, maybe that's where they came from. They're able to be home for Christmas, which sounds small, but it's big. Some of these players haven't seen their families over Christmas for 10 years. And, I mean, I don't know, I'm a family person, so that means a lot to me. I know how much, when you lose people in your family, they pass away. It just means a lot. And I just want to make sure we have that opportunity for people, and to people know them. They're coming in the crowds. They remember them from their college days. They're supporting them that way. They're really big fans from then, and they're able to now follow them. They didn't have that. And so now they do.
I mean, when you talk about the rise of women's sports from a visual standpoint, I mean, Iowa plays a basketball game in the football stadium, and it's a crazy crowd. And in Nebraska, I don't even. That was the most crazy thing.
92,000 people there, and that's not
I can't even fathom it. No, I mean, and it shows that if you the whole adage, if you build it, they will come. Yeah. It's true. I mean, if you put a quality product out there, people will watch it, and people want to be associated with it.
Well, and my thought's always been this, and this is just me being me, but when you put the time and effort and energy into making it an event to create this product, which is the team playing and the hoopla that goes around it, and you work hard to get the ticket sales, and you do all this kind of stuff, and you actually pay attention to it as something that they want to support fully, you'll see how it grows. It really will grow. Now, that has been a long time coming, and you started to see that gradually get bigger and bigger in volleyball because the support was starting. But then now you're seeing people they are all over it, and they're watching. I mean, the demographics have shown just the growth over the last, with the Big Ten Network. That's what I'm familiar with, right? So the Big Ten Network, seeing how that's grown is amazing watching volleyball. So I'm not surprised that this is growing. It's exciting.
I mean, if somebody doesn't watch it,
it's exciting.
Somebody doesn't watch volleyball. I mean, I was always a fan. I was fortunate that I had a lot of volleyball players that high jump for me or long jump for me. Angie Pressey. I mean, I think of some good ones on the college side of different places. But I mean, volleyball just in itself. I mean,
remember Angie?
The athleticism. I mean, the athleticism and the fast pacedness of it's one after the other, and there's constant action, and that's. I mean, in our cell phone society where it's hey, I want something happening every couple seconds, volleyball fits that mold.
It really does. And it's funny you say that, because that's what everybody comes away from. They say, oh my God, first of all, it's so athletic. It's so fast, but the rallies keep going. And some people would say, well, how does that happen? Because your players hit the ball harder, across the board, everybody's been an All-American, everybody's played pro. So they're all high level, they've all been the top of their game. But now we're taking the 1% that went to college. We're taking the 1% that's gone pro, and we're saying this is a very elite group. And when they play together now, the game gets faster even, and the reaction time of the athletes, their superior athletes, now all of a sudden is even quicker. So it's hard to get a kill. And so you're seeing these rallies go, and the fans are just, they're just through the roof watching these people fly off the court and make plays, and the rally still goes, and it goes on another, 5 times over the net. And then pretty soon, they're in it. And they're in it all the way to the end. And there's been so many 5-game matches, which people usually are like, oh, it's so long. They're excited about it. So, and it's still competitive.